This is how accountability dies in Queensland mining. Over the next few minutes, you're going to see, in real time, how a government regulator handled one of the most serious safety failures in our state's history. My name is Wade McGovern. I was one of the workers who almost lost their life in the catastrophic low-wall failure at Curragh Mine on 31st October 2021. What you're about to see isn't speculation. It's the actual email trail between me and Resources Safety and Health Queensland. Word for word, date by date, it shows how a system designed to protect workers instead protected itself, narrowing the scope, refusing accountability, and calling the matter closed, while lives were still being shattered. This is more than just paperwork. It's evidence of how regulatory capture, conflict of interest, and systemic negligence keep repeating themselves in Queensland's mining industry. Watch closely. Every line tells the story of how truth was avoided, how justice was delayed, and how the fight for safety isn't over. Year 1, 19th of June 2025, 10:24 a.m. From Ethics and Complaints. To Wade McGovern. Subject: Engagement of External Forensic Investigator. Dear Mr. McGovern, I am writing to inform you that we have engaged an external forensic investigator, McGrath Nicole, to review the handling of your complaints and the report provided to RSHQ by the Crime and Corruption Commission, CCC. Matters Assessed Report, reference, CO 24-6864. This step is being taken to ensure a thorough and impartial assessment of the process involved. Before we can proceed, please could you confirm whether you consent to us sharing your contact details with McGrath Nicole? Once we receive your confirmation, a representative from McGrath Nicole will be in touch with you directly via email and will provide a formal letter outlining the scope of his engagement and will request an interview with you via Microsoft Teams. It is important to note that McGrath Nicole's review will focus solely on the handling of your complaints and not the original incident itself. Thank you for your ongoing cooperation throughout the assessment of your complaints. Should you have any questions or need further clarification, please do not hesitate to reach out. Kind regards, Chief Complaints Officer Resources, Safety and Health, Queensland, C.T. Kurdu. 1st July 2025, 9:39 a.m. From Ethics and Complaints to Wade McGovern. Subject: RE, Engagement of External Forensic Investigator. Dear Mr. McGovern, I write to you further to my below email of 19th of June 2025. Before we can proceed with the external investigation into your complaints, we require your consent to us sharing your contact details with McGrath Nicole. Once we receive your confirmation, a representative from McGrath Nicole will be in touch with you directly via email and will provide a formal letter outlining the scope of his engagement and will request an interview with you via Microsoft Teams, seeking your urgent advice, with appreciation. Chief Complaints Officer, Resources Safety and Health, Queensland. Previously, the Queensland mining regulator proposed a limited investigation into my safety complaints and asked for my consent. This was my response. 8 July 2025, 10:59 a.m. From Wade McGovern. To Ethics and Complaints, PCCC, Resources Ministerial, Premier, Integrity Commissioner, QHRC. Subject: Wade McGovern. Response to Engagement of External Forensic Investigator. Scope: Inadequate. Consent withheld. Dear Chief Complaints Officer, thank you for your follow-up regarding the proposed external review by McGrath Nicole. At this stage, I do not consent to the release of my contact details or participation in the process as described, because the current scope, limited solely to the handling of my complaints, is grossly inadequate. Any meaningful forensic review must include the original incident at Curragh Mine, including contributing geotechnical, hydrological, and regulatory factors, the lead-up to the event, including historical events and decisions from as far back as 2002, including the low-wall failure and known structural instabilities involving the Jellinbah Fault, the conduct of RSHQ and the Serious Incident Investigation Unit, SIIU, both during and after the event, including evidence handling, inspection records, and failure to enforce statutory controls, the personal and professional impact on me and other workers, including how we were treated after raising safety concerns. And crucially, I will be providing further evidence to support my claim that we were knowingly sent into a well-documented high-risk area by both Coronado Global Resources and RSHQ, without our knowledge, without our consent, and with zero critical safety controls in place. I am open to engaging with a truly independent forensic investigator, but only under a revised scope that fully addresses the incident, its root causes, and the subsequent treatment of those involved. Limiting the review to administrative complaint handling risks further undermining trust and fails to serve the interests of safety, transparency, or justice. I urge RSHQ to reconsider and broaden the investigation scope accordingly. Kind regards, Wade McGovern, 4, 9 July 2025, 3:28 p.m. From Ethics and Complaints to Wade McGovern. Subject: Engagement of External Forensic Investigator. Dear Mr. McGovern, thank you for your email dated 8 July 2025. We acknowledge receipt of your decision to decline the opportunity to be interviewed by our external investigator, McGrath Nicole, in relation to the complaints you have submitted. Please be advised that Resources Safety and Health Queensland, RSHQ, will not be changing the terms of reference for the investigation. We will proceed with the current engagement of McGrath Nicole to carry out an independent review as originally planned. While we respect your decision not to participate in an interview, we wish to inform you that this will limit your ability, as the complainant, to fully articulate your concerns and to provide detailed information regarding the serious allegations you have raised. An interview with the investigator is an important part of the process to ensure that your perspective is clearly understood. Should you wish to reconsider and take up the opportunity to be interviewed, please inform me within 7 working days. We remain committed to ensuring that your complaints are handled fairly and thoroughly. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yours sincerely, Chief Complaints Officer, Resources Safety and Health, Queensland. In the last part, the regulator insisted on a limited investigation, refusing to broaden the scope. This was my final response. 15th of July 2025, 10:03 a.m. From Wade McGovern. To Ethics and Complaints, Premier, Ministerial, PCCC, Integrity Commissioner, Ombudsman, UN and ILO contacts, subject Wade McGovern, formal rejection of consent, inadequate scope, conflict of interest, and regulatory failure. Chief Complaints Officer, thank you for your email dated 8 July 2025. After careful consideration, I must reiterate that I do not consent to the release of my contact details to McGrath Nicole or to participate under the current terms of reference for the investigation. This is not the right investigation for my case, limiting the review solely to the administrative handling of my complaints, while excluding the catastrophic safety failures at Curragh Mine, the long-standing geotechnical risks, the role of regulatory negligence, and the serious mistreatment of workers who raised concerns only demonstrates a willful avoidance of truth and accountability. Furthermore, RSHQ commissioning and overseeing an investigation into itself is a blatant conflict of interest. A truly independent, transparent, and trauma-informed investigation must be free from the influence of the body under scrutiny. Until the root causes of the Curragh incident have been properly examined and controls implemented to prevent recurrence, participation in the McGrath-Nicole process would only legitimize a cover-up. I want to place on record that I hold significant, credible, and well-documented evidence across geological, hydrological, and regulatory domains, clearly demonstrating systemic failures. Multiple agencies, including RSHQ, are aware of this evidence yet continue to ignore or minimize it. I am escalating this matter to higher authorities, including the Crime and Corruption Commission, CCC, the Queensland Ombudsman, the Premier of Queensland, the Shadow Minister for Natural Resources and Mines, the Queensland Integrity Commissioner, the Parliamentary Crime and Corruption Committee, PCC, the Queensland Human Rights Commission, QHRC, and now the United Nations. Given the ongoing injustice, psychological harm, and institutional negligence, I am formally calling on the United Nations to step in and support me in this unfair, unjust, and inhumane treatment I am being subjected to, and assist in establishing a truly independent investigation into the incident and subsequent regulatory failures. I want to thank RSHQ for offering the opportunity to participate. However, this is not the right opportunity for me. If the scope of the investigation is amended to include the actual event, the historical context leading up to it, and is conducted by a truly independent investigator with no connection to RSHQ or affiliated stakeholders, then I would genuinely consider engaging in good faith. Until such time, I must continue my campaign for transparency, safety, justice, and truth. Respectfully, Wade McGovern. Voice 16th of July, 2025, 2:15 p.m. From Ethics and Complaints to Wade McGovern. Subject, URI, formal rejection of consent. Inadequate scope, conflict of interest, and regulatory failure. Dear Mr. McGovern, thank you for your email dated 15th July 2025. We acknowledge receipt of your final decision to decline the opportunity to be interviewed by our external investigator, McGrath Nicole, in relation to the complaints you have submitted. We will be in contact with you in due course once the investigation is finalized. Yours sincerely, Chief Complaints Officer, Resources Safety and Health, Queensland. What you've just seen is the full timeline. Every email, every response, every decision. It shows a pattern: deflection, limitation, and closure. A regulator narrowing its own scope, refusing to examine the root causes of a catastrophic mine failure, and calling it resolved, while workers like me are still living with the consequences. This isn't just a story about Curragh Mine. It's about a system that protects corporations and agencies before it protects people. And that's why the fight for accountability must continue. Because when institutions investigate themselves, truth dies quietly. When evidence is ignored, the next disaster is already in motion. Workers across Queensland and Australia deserve better. They deserve regulators who act with integrity, not self-preservation. They deserve investigations that seek the truth, not manage the optics. I hope you now can understand why this campaign exists, to make sure voices like ours are never silenced again. The campaign continues because lives were nearly lost, evidence was buried, and lessons were never learned. We're standing up for those who can't. We're demanding transparency, safety, and justice, not just for us, but for every worker who steps onto a mine site believing someone has their back. For safety, for truth, for every worker. Share this video to demand accountability and help us ensure a safer future for all workers.